INSTAR. I'm Trish.
And I'm Nick.
We're artists based in Nottingham, and we're here working at the Lincolnshire Wolds National Landscape for our commission for Nature Calling. We've been commissioned as part of this project for Nature Calling, and as artists we were really keen to apply for this opportunity because as artists we are naturalists as well, and we are really committed to creating artwork that gives voice to nature. And so yeah, it was a real appealing opportunity for us to create art that stands out in this landscape.
That was the idea, wasn't it? To make something that really interrupts the landscape. Usually we're used to seeing advertising hoardings, you know, every day we see these things, but we don't usually see these things in a field. So we wanted to put these things in a field to really shout a message out.
And for this project specifically, we wanted to create art that was very bold and very stand out and sort of interrupts the viewpoint, the landscape, the horizon. So this artwork called Shelf Life is taking the format of a sort of, you could say even a sort of sculptural, performative piece of art. It's site-specific and it's a billboard. And we've taken the billboard to various locations across the world, and we're pasting up specifically designed artworks, a different one in each space.
And we wanted to create something that really activated the landscape. It was something that was quite subtle. Some of them you really have to take your time, and that was very purposeful. We wanted people to really stand in the space and really observe the slogans that we've used. We've used a lot of slogans that are very much based on sales.
This week we've been travelling around the Wolds installing our billboard artwork, and to be in the Wolds and to be in amongst the land where a lot of food is produced and grown is really interesting to be part of and to see and to witness. What's interesting about Shelf Life is that often those who consume food don't perhaps understand the origins of the food that they're eating and the efforts and the pressures that this production has to feed the nation of the UK. And we wanted to sort of bring this message to not just the rural community, but importantly to convey that journey for those who live in an urban environment.
And those are pressures that are not just on the land itself, but pressures on, say, farming life and pressures on the farmers, but really importantly, the pressures that it creates for nature.
Yeah, as naturalists, you know, we really seek out nature. And this brief has been really exciting for us to consider the nature in the Wolds. And there are little sort of pockets of areas where there is habitat that's thriving, but it's really, really fragmented as a landscape. It is connected by some hedgerow, but that is really, it's been dominated by the farm life and the farming landscape.
Well, what we've really observed is moving around the landscape, trying to find places to put up our billboards, is the roads and the verges. So that seems to be where the hedges, the trees are, and really distinctively in this part of the country, these really wide verges which are quite rich in wildflowers. So that seems to be where the nature is on the sides of the road.
But beyond that border, there is a vastness, a sort of like everlasting landscape of farmed land. And it's quite a contrast, really. And there is some effort. We've met some regenerative farmers locally who are doing some really interesting work. There are buffer zones as well, which is really helping and giving something back to nature. And also these areas that have been designated for meadow, but they're very small. And we definitely feel there needs to be more to be done.
I think that's something important to say, isn't it? It's like that we're definitely not coming down on farmers here. We're interested in opening a conversation.
Yeah.
And this is what we hope is the start of a conversation about what can be done to help nature more and preserve the farming lifestyle.
Each location has its own artwork that we've created, and there are 9 billboard artworks. These have been quite simple in format, perhaps, to look at, but we wanted them to be quite bold in message. We're using typography centrally within each piece and using a backdrop of sort of geometric pattern, and there's a real sort of like symbolism with that geometric pattern.
Geometric meaning literally the measure of the land. And a lot of the planning around the idea of some of those patterns that we were using, some of the colours that we're using, was sort of based around packaging. We kind of liked the idea of really feeling not so much that this was product, but it was packaging. It was something that almost was you wanted to own, in a sense, with its choice of pattern, with its choice of colour, but very bold in its statement. These are definitely slogans about being sold, something being sold, really wanting you to buy it, buy into it. And asking the question, are we selling out on nature, I think was one of the big things that we wanted to cover.
Yeah, that selling out of nature as well is sort of like, has a correlation with the idea of the devaluation of everything that we're doing. So thinking about the sort of devaluing of the yield, the produce that's being grown here in Lincolnshire Wolds, for example, is going down in value when it's being put into the sort of system of the mass distribution locally and globally. And that then has a devaluing impact on farming effort. But also we devalue product. It becomes cheaper or more expensive in more recent times. But as a consumer, we're devaluing the journey of that product. And so shelf life is very much looking at the longevity of the produce that we're creating and the impact it has and the value it has, and the sustainability of produce and growing in the UK.